A couple days ago, a PSVR2 game that I have raved about since it came out, and that I didn't really think needed any more updating, got updated yet again. This is Arken Age, and Vitruvius VR, who are behind this game, have cemented themselves in the PSVR2 community as a developer that's a must-buy with whatever they come out at this point. Arken Age was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. From its combat exploration, world building, visuals, it's just fantastic across the board, and they just keep making it better. This latest update comprises of a load of smaller fixes and adjustments, which I'll get into in a second, but there's one big one. There's a quality of life change that's really appreciated. Before we get into it and talk about Arken Age a little bit more, and what the new update has brung, and also just how I found it after completing the campaign in terms of replay value, only 25% you are subscribed, so please feel free to do so, and thank you to our patrons and YouTube members for making these videos possible. Anyway, let's talk Arken Age. First and foremost, this update in terms of actual patch notes is fairly chunky. Vitruvius VR popped up on the Reddit of PSVR and said, "Hey guys, hope you've been enjoying Arken Age over the last couple of weeks. The launch has gone extremely well, and it's been amazing to hear your thoughts on the game so far. We've been listening to your feedback every day, and I'm happy to share that we finished the map system in the game. You can now open your main tablet and select map from the left-hand display to bring up the full Biochasm map. From here, you can track main objectives, side quests, and machinery locations, much like the relic tracking works in the game. Our biggest worry was that the map would deter exploration in the game, so we added 3 tiers of objective hints on the map. Hints set as basic will function exactly like the teleporter map works in the game currently. Hints off will remove all objectives, and hints on will have an arrow pointing to the next main story objective in the game. While hints are on, you can also click on the side objectives on the map to track instead of proceeding with the main story. Once side objectives are completed or cancelled, the map will point you along the main path once again. In map settings, you can turn on buy stations, crafting tables, health stations, teleporters, and refinery locations that you have previously been to in order to backtrack easily to those locations. Hope you guys enjoyed the update. Cheers, Blake and the Vitruvius VR team." Now this, in essence, is a fantastic feature to have. Me personally, I really enjoyed just kind of exploring Arken Age through and through without really any map guide. I just kind of wanted to dig into it and see what I could find. But for people who prefer more linear story stuff and want to be directed and just want to focus on combat and story, this is a great implementation. Having it scaled and kind of segmented like that so you can choose which bits you want on and off is just genius. I've actually jumped in and tested this again, and there was one location in the game that I hadn't explored yet, and the hints on section of the map managed to lead me straight to it, which was really appreciated, meaning I could complete my selection of weapons and attachments. And honestly, I'm just surprised how quickly they've implemented this since we're only a couple weeks since the launch. Aside from that, there's a ton of other stuff in the patch notes as well, such as adjusting the crouch mode, adding a karma tracker to player progress menu, meaning that you can see how much metal you've taken from the fallen little dudes or whether you've freed them, tweaking the final boss fight to make it a little bit more clear what you're supposed to be doing, some UI adjustments, allowing punching damage without touching the thumb button, which is such a good change. I've been honestly jumping in and just doing some boxing against the enemies recently, and before you had to constantly be touching your thumb button to get that to register, but now any hit does. There's some buffs and some changes to the assault rifle, pistol, and shotgun in terms of spread of damage, along with some of the daggers and swords. Honestly, there's so much I could dig into here, but pretty much everything here is something that has been fed back from the players, and that's what makes Vitruvius such good devs. Immediately after this patch went live as well, there was a bug that kind of crashed when you went into one of the tombs, and the devs had fixed it within a couple of hours of the patch going live, which is really cool. I'm already seeing some good player feedback in terms of people enjoying the game a lot more in terms of knowing where to go as well. So over the last couple of days, it seems that this update has done exactly what it was supposed to do. Aside from this, Arken Age as a game after completing the main story, I found it's been pretty replayable, and not in the way that I would really think. I thought that I was going to jump back in and play the game all the way through again like I have been doing with Behemoth, but instead, for Arken Age, I've just been kind of exploring the world again. Even though it's not the biggest open world I've ever seen in VR, there is a fair bit to it, and just kind of strolling through and interacting and battling with enemies has kind of scratched that melee combat itch for me in VR recently. Previously it was hopping into Blade and Sorcery, playing around with some mods and just fighting some NPCs, but Arken Age's combat feels so good that I just find myself going back to either the open world, as I said, or going to the wave spawner machines that are around the map and just spawning in the different challenge waves to see if I can beat them. The combat feels so fluid, and it's rare that a developer nails melee like they have here. Anyway, I just wanted to highlight the Arken Age developers and how great they've been recently, and show off some of the changes if you haven't seen them. So if you're put off by the exploration in Arken Age and prefer linear stories, this should help you there and maybe entice you to buy the game. And if you're wondering about replay value at the end, I've been constantly jumping back in for half an hour or so just to fight against enemies recently. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.